Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome to the first of our 2023 Gaelic4Mothers&Others webinars with SportsDirect. Delighted, of course, of the support of SportsDirect through this and the whole programme. I have three very special guests you can see on the screen tonight, so I'm going to come to them in a little second and do some introductions. I will be letting them do a little introduction of their own each in a second. So we have Roisin, you'll see, from the Mila Moves. I could say Keela Mila, but I think everyone will know the Mila Moves. It's Elena from St. Maur's, and we have Anthony from Saville. So blessed is he amongst women tonight, but that's okay. It's very important. We were talking just before we come on about the importance of everyone that's involved in Gaelic4Mothers. You were hoping to see Vinny's face, which you're not seeing tonight, unfortunately. And I would like to take an opportunity from all in Gaelic4Mothers to pass on our condolences to Vinny on the passing of his dad this week. So we're all thinking of you, Vinny, and I know you'll be back ready and raring to go with his favourite group of women, the many women around the country. I don't think there's many men in Ireland have as many women contacting him on a regular basis because of Gaelic4Mothers&Others. So he'll be back at base very soon. So we'll get started. Tonight's topic is on my Gaelic4Mothers&Others journey, and everybody will have had a different journey. And I suppose before we were talking, we were saying Gaelic4Mothers&Others when it's set up, maybe about getting an hour a week of exercise for women, but it's become so much more important than that in clubs in multiple capacities, both for the participants involved and from the club. So we're going to hear from some of the people involved. Some of the clubs are only started, some of them are around a long time, and we won't say which one's around a long time, but it'll be good to hear all the stories. So what we'll do is we'll get started. So maybe, Rosie, we'll start with you down. I know you're one of the newer clubs, but maybe if you just want to tell us a little bit about the club, why it got started, and maybe why you got involved in it.
Hi, everyone. So I'm involved with Keela Mila Ladies Football Club. We're better supposed known as Mila Moves. We started our journey only very recently, August 21. And kind of from the get-go, it just kind of started off, I suppose, with a laugh at the girls' training that we were coaching at. And next thing, there was like a week later, there was 42 women on the field. It just kind of hit with a bang. We're kind of a couple of different communities moved into one club, Keela Mila. It's a fabulous little club. We're in a rural area down West Cork, between Banff and Clan, based in Athlone. And it's just gone from strength to strength. We are just absolutely loving it. And we got the honour of playing in Crow Park last year, which was just unbelievable, really, to be honest. Undescribable. It was brilliant.
And I won't say that it was a lot easier to mind the under 10s maybe than the Gaelic4Mothers. We won't go there. We won't go there for that one. I think a certain Taoiseach had to make his way around to see us on that day, but we'll come to that. We'll come to that later on. Suppose from a new club to Anthony, you've been around quite a while with Gaelic4Mothers&Others. Again, maybe a little bit about your club and how you got involved.
Yeah, well, I'm back in Saville Club in County Down, and my involvement in ladies football began. I have three daughters, obviously, they all are interested in football. So around late 1990s and 2000, I was involved in ladies football, coached under 16s, minors, seniors. And then around April 2010, we were asked by our Paula if Saville could host a Gaelic4Moms blitz. Yeah, and of course I was second at the time also. So I said, yeah, no problem, we'll do that. But we ourselves were hosting it, but we hadn't got a team. So anyway, we got the word round. I knew a few ex-players and asked them, and then by the time the blitz came around in July, we had actually, I think, 18, 19 people. So we were able to put two teams in. And at that stage, I think there was very few teams about. I think there was 8 teams for the Ulster Blitz at that time, and we had two from us. And but it just shows you from then, it's just continued right through. My thing was just to set it up. Then somebody else take over. But it's not probably maybe they don't. I think they keep saying they don't want me to go because I'm always sort of threatening every year. This could be my last year, but I'm always not threatened, but I always go back, you know. But I can't recommend the initiative highly enough, both from a club point of view and more importantly from the women's point of view.
And I think there, Anthony, you were saying you were hoping just to set it up and go. I think the women
Yeah,
are probably letting on that it's not set up yet, so that you haven't set it up properly when they're keeping you engaged, but that's all good. And
Yeah.
Selena, we're moving on to St. Moore's, and again,
Yeah.
the same thing for yourself, just to give a bit of a background on how you got involved.
Yeah, hi, I just said I'm involved in St. Moore's GAA club here in Rush in North County Dublin, a fantastic club. I suppose the reason why I initially became involved was, well, I didn't really have a choice because my husband was crazy GAA. So as soon as our kids were born, they literally got their St. Moore's jersey, and as soon as they could play camogie, hurling, football, the works, we were up at the side of the pitch. So for quite a few years, I did that and I cheered, and I actually didn't know a huge amount about the game myself. But it's amazing how quick you become a professional and so knowledgeable and roaring from the side of the pitch. And I thought, this looks like fun. So anyway, at the time, our GPO, Claire Dowdall, had told us about this initiative of Gaelic4Mothers&Others. So we were like, yeah, we'll give it a go, and got a few women and gave a shout out with a couple of training sessions. Now, I'd love to say it looked like GAA, but it didn't. It was more combination of soccer, GAA, bit of rugby and a bit of basketball, but the crack was unbelievable. And that was 9 years ago this month, and we're still going strong. We have approximately 40 plus members. We've a consistent turnout at training every week. As I was saying to you earlier on, it is pure therapy for most of us, no matter what is going on in our lives. We're always there for each other. We support each other. We cheer each other on. And it really is, I'll say girl power, but I might be better off saying woman power.
Yeah.
But, and again, it's what it gives and what it brings to us, and what it gives to us. It is, we've all, become more involved in the club. I'm the healthy club officer in our club. The majority of our team are on juvenile committees. They're set up fundraising events. We've, set up all stars, and a lot of that has stemmed from the Gaelic4Mothers&Others themselves, and their initiatives and their drive to become more involved in the club. So 100% the best thing I've ever become involved with, and long may it continue. The knees are getting a bit dodgy, but I'm not giving up.
And that's good to hear. Nobody wants to give up, so that's good to hear. And I suppose just keeping with you, I suppose we'll go around the houses in a second again, but you mentioned there the Gaelic4Mothers&Others, it's so much more, as we said at the start, than an hour a week exercise. So there is obviously physical benefits, even if somebody only goes out and stands and walks a couple of steps.
100%.
But the big thing has been the mental benefits and the emotional benefits, that connection. Could you talk maybe a bit about that? Maybe something you've seen yourself, but also maybe teammates or other teams. And do you think that's
Look, life is changing and we're all under pressure, and there's a lot going on, I suppose, in each individual's lives. I suppose from our own team, we've had a lot of, individuals that have gone through some tough times and, need the support. And no matter what is required, everybody is there. There's no judgment. Nobody cares, no matter what that is going on, we all support each other, and that is the bottom line. There's never any issue that the girls have, any of the issues that we've had. It could be from moaning about husbands, it could be help with teenagers, it could be discussing the menopause, it could be all of the above. And we're all there, to encourage and support and get each other through, and it's amazing. Even when I was writing down a few things earlier on, I was thinking about the benefits. I think the last thing I actually put down was nearly the physical benefits. I was like, social life, great, friendship, great, support, great, encouragement, great. And then I was like, oh, and physical fitness, of course. But it was really genuinely something I hadn't even thought of. Well, it's not that I hadn't thought of, but it was one of the last things I put down, It's really the support and the friendship.
And I think that's the big thing, and that's like, even if somebody can't go out and run around, it's the connection they would miss more than anything. And I know, Rosen, you done a very good interview after, I think, one of your award wins recently, and you actually labelled it as what it has done for the mental health of the community. So it kind of summarised that piece about what it done for the women, that connection. Again, could you expand on that a little bit more? Because I think sometimes we get caught up in the physical piece of it, but actually a lot of people's journey is very much about the connection they've made.
Oh, like definitely for us as a community, like I suppose I'm what you call a blow-in. Like I'm only from an hour away, but like, you know, trying to, especially with COVID, people that had moved into the area and didn't know anyone or didn't have kids in schools, different things, or didn't have kids. And like they were, you know, in their homes, they didn't know anyone at once. So once we started up, there's different women from different counties like coming to the club, and like just the laughter, you know, if you just had the most stressful bad day, if you've just work's been crap or you've been running a racing, like someone said to me training tonight, I said, hey, how's it going? I've had such a crap day, but like as she's laughing, like in the middle of it all, and she's like, I'll tell you later, and like you wouldn't even talk about it because you're just laughing so much. Like we did a self-defense demonstration last night, just for something different. Our coach had a night off, we gave him a night off, and like we should have been being serious, but all we could do was just laugh and laugh and laugh. And like my sister-in-law said before, you could just bottle it. Like your head just feels, if you've had a bad day, you just come back and you just feel like I can't sleep after training because I'm still laughing. Like it's just, it takes me ages to get to sleep after training. And you know, the matches, and like even after a match, we have to go, like if it's a weekday, we have to go to McDonald's or we have to go somewhere together because we kind of feel like we have to talk, but I just not even talk about the match, but just a bit of crack afterwards, you know. I honestly feel like we're 10-year-olds again. Like I'm sure our coach agrees because the yapping, well, he's trying to, like a lot of us are now coaching within our club and stuff. And like we're telling the kids to stop talking as we're not listening to our coach Dwayne. Like he's insane, he genuinely is. But I think even for him, it's so important to get a really good coach, for as in like just for the crack, you know, to be up for the laugh. I was saying to you earlier, like Dwayne has a 10-year contract where he has to wear, like he pretends that we have a solicitor that actually plays with us, so we made her, he had to sign in front of her, but like just to dress up as random stuff for matches or training or just the crack. So it just brings, it makes the fun side, you know, if it's serious. No one wants seriousness. Everyone wants like the positive side of everything, and like just no negativity. Like I just feel $1 million all the time when I speak about it, or when we're playing, or like even the fundraisers we get involved in. Like I could literally text and say there's a welly competition, throwing competition, and I swear to God, there'll be 15 people that will say yes, and I'm like, I just can't get over everyone's enthusiasm. Like it's just fantastic. It's been fantastic for my mental health, and I'm sure everybody involved would agree, or down in our team. Like
I'm thinking there when you were saying about the self-defense class, and I'm going to hand over to Anthony now in a second, because maybe he's a coach, Anthony, is that what you mean was the self-defense class? So some of these, they're definitely a lively group. So from your own perspective as a coach, I suppose, what you can see the impact it's having, but even what does it do for you as a coach?
Yeah, from a coach's point of view, you have to first of all realize it's fun. You know what I mean? Well, in the past we would have experienced maybe other teams that coaches are in, it's one at all costs. Those type of teams don't last long. You know, any team that's too good, and because there was not so long ago, 3 years ago, there was a team all over 25, but they're all ex-county players. When you know teams go to play them, you get a hammer. That team lasted a couple of years. So the other thing, if a team gets a reputation for being too rough, again, words spread around, they don't last there. So it's important that you have the right coach, and I think I am the right coach because I do listen most of the times, and I think they do listen most of the time to myself. And we have a good mixture. Like we have always around 20. We never went like Selena into the 30s or 40 numbers wise, but it was always that was, to me, that's manageable. So, but as I say, you're not going to get the whole squad out every time, and you have to accept that from a coaching point of view. And as long as I get 10 there, I'm happy enough, you know,
Yeah.
because you can do things then, you can do wee drills, and it's more enjoyable for the girls themselves as well. So from that point of view, probably that's why I've been there, because sorry, I'm feel wanted type of thing, and it is good, and you get a lot of enjoyment out of it as well. And you mentioned the aiming earlier on with, in the pre-match, yeah, those type of things you do get involved with, and you do go out of your comfort zone. And the same with the women as well, because we would maybe do things like mountain hikes and cycle along there's towpaths near to us, and we've done a few mud runs as well. All probably things that the ladies wouldn't have done by themselves, but they have a nice. Now, I was going to tell you basically a story what Gaelic4Moms really means to players. And I'm going to take my own wife. She was there from the start. So in late September, I think it was 2015, right? She got called to, she did a breast cancer screening. And of course, she was called back. And she was given the bad news that she had breast cancer. And then I think the week after that, it was an ISIL blitz in Portmarnock, which is in October then. And she went to that, she played, never led on to any of the other players. Went back in November time now to see the consultant, and she had a wee list drawn out. Of course, I went with her. She had this wee list of questions, and the first question was obviously, what does the surgery entail? And the second question was, this was totally out of the blue for me, because she wasn't sporty any type beforehand, and she said to the consultant, can I still play football? And really something like that, it just showed you how much the actual thing meant to her. And of course, as the girls were saying, she went for surgery in December, and then she had obviously the chemo January, February, and then she was back to football, I think it was late March, early April. And again, the amount of support the girls gave her was incredible, like, you know what I mean? And even things like that, I think it was Rosie mentioned and Selena had mentioned about things that go on, because you don't know what's going on in people's lives half the time. You know, the thing smiling on the outside but crying on the inside. And but that's just an example of what this initiative actually means to people.
Yeah. And I think, Anthony, it probably says a lot for your group as well, because I know your group has been highly involved in charity and raised money for various charities, and has been commended highly by both Newry and Borough Council and many others. That probably plays a key aspect to it too, Anthony. That
oh, it does. Yeah, very, very much so. And fundraising, it gets the whole group together. And we, as Lynn said there, one was our local, I guess, a suicide charity. And of course, we're in a rural area, but we're still affected by suicide and self-harm. And we've also did for the hospice. And last year we did for multiple sclerosis, mainly because one of our players has the condition. And she's very open about it. But again, that's us showing her support as well.
Brilliant. And I know, Selena, a lot of the groups are very highly involved in charity and that as well. But in the saying that said as well, charity begins at home. Yeah. You mentioned, and Rosie mentioned as well, the amount of the women who've now got involved in volunteering in the clubs and the likes of the All-Stars. What would you say? Maybe when it was mentioned to the club originally, I know some clubs kind of go, where are we going to fit these in? What would you say the club is saying now?
Well, to be very honest, at the start, our club were fantastic. They really were. As I said, we're 9 years up and running, and they were really supportive of the initiative. It started obviously as a small group, and they laughed and they said, sure, go for it, have the crack, But they could see in such a short space of time that this team, this gathering of women was only going to empower the club, you know, from any initiative, exactly like you've been both speaking about there, and about from charity events to juvenile events to club. Like, clubs are fantastic for what they do from a sports perspective, and we all know the benefits of that, but it's so much bigger. And with the likes of the Healthy Club initiative, it has grown and brought clubs into so many different areas, from an inclusivity perspective, from diversity. You know, it's really, you know, changed what a club is within your community. You know, as I said, the starting element, of course, it's competitive, and that's brilliant, and it's a great place to be a part of, but GA clubs are bigger than that now. So with the likes of this Gaelic4Mothers initiative, it's a no-brainer to clubs, because, and men, you are amazing, and I'm not knocking what you do, hats off to you, but we know when we need stuff done, it's women the same. We know how to organize, we know how to plan, we know how to gather people to become involved. We just know how to do it, and it's been nothing but a huge plus. But as I said, they were really supportive from the beginning, and continue to be, you know, now, and any encouragement we've received has been fantastic. So long may it continue. I'm hoping to watch this now after to know how.
We'll cut the club clips and send it to them. And I think that's really important, because I know quite a few women mentioned that maybe without Gaelic4Mothers&Others, they weren't sure where their space was in the club. So if they had a background, it was easy for them maybe to slot into being a coach because they knew the skills, etc. But for women who hadn't that background, it was tough. And Rosie, I know, as we said, that cohort could have been lost, but you've also seen a huge influx of volunteers, and even yourself, you've now gone on and done the leading provincial females and doing loads of other stuff. Have your club seen that, and I suppose reaped the rewards of the skill set that's now been brought into the club?
Definitely, because I think a lot of women especially are very nervous. Like, I even found, I played football up to about 16 and dropped out, and we had no other age group to go on with. And then I promised I'd go back for years and never did. And it wasn't until my own daughter started playing within the ladies football club that I said, look, I'll give a hand. But I still wasn't confident enough to go, oh, I'll coach, you know, or whatever. I was kind of kept, I'll do the toilet breaks, you know, all this kind of stuff. So I think a lot of women especially, kind of, if they're helping out in J or into that, they feel like, you know, they haven't got stuff to give, but we have loads, like. And when we started the team, like, you know, it was obviously a joke when we started off. Like, I wasn't joking, but they were like, yeah, I was there. Look, just come for one night and we'll give it a go. And like, I think then when they started learning the skills, getting more comfortable with each other, because a lot of us are coming from different areas into the one ladies football club, all very, you know, in a couple of mile radius, but still different GA clubs. And like, suddenly we were like, just got our confidence. And now there's a couple of, you know, there's people coaching, there's people helping out in men. We applied for the Gaelic for Girls and we got it. We absolutely cannot wait to start. It's a rural club, and there's just so many girls around that we'd love to see coming over, but especially like since we started, say, our team, a lot of women that had daughters that were playing camogie, but weren't playing ladies football yet. So they've started signing up. So it's fantastic to see. Even we're doing our campaign for Crow Park, you know, to have we were called the Mila Boos, we had the Mila Calves, and like the girls watching, you know, the girls are watching on, seeing like their moms, or like I was training them to 12, so like even to see them seeing their coach, do you know what I mean? Like trying to get to play in Crow Park, like it wasn't a dream for us years ago, but like it is something that's imaginable for them now. So like there's definitely way more people are getting involved since Gaelic4Mothers&Others, and like even when we have Gaelic for Girls, people are putting their hands up to get involved in it, you know what I mean? They're mad, everyone just wants to be involved. It's like, I just can't get over the enthusiasm, to be honest. It's brilliant.
And that's a word you use there, which is a really important one, is role models, or two words I should say. I'll be caught up on that one. But I know we just recently finished during 2022, we done our Heroes of Today, and it was a different feature for each month, and one of them was a Gaelic4Mothers month, because I mean, for the many women across the country, as you said, your kids are seeing you take to the football pitches around. For some may have played before, for some never even seen a ball before.
Yeah.
Like, is the role model aspect, how important is that for young girls and boys to see their mothers, aunts, grandmothers in some cases taken to the football field? Selena, how do you think that is that important?
Oh, it's huge, without a doubt. And you know what? It's life-changing for the women for a start, because in some cases, like, there's kids that may play themselves and their mums may not have been into physical fitness, may, you know, just obviously supportive and all that, but all of a sudden it has this knock-on impact. So you're socially part of a group, you're becoming more involved in your club, so your children are seeing that. They're seeing the physical benefits, then you become that bit more health conscious just from minding yourself across the board, holistically, you know, from minding your minds to minding your physical health, and just mind and nurturing your friendships. So, and then you're in better mood, you're a nicer mammy, you know, you're in better form, you know, you've more energy. So it's just a no-brainer. It's a win-win. Anyone that becomes part of this initiative, it doesn't matter. And I know Rosalie was saying you played. I'd say for the gang of women we probably have about 4, maybe 5 that had an opportunity to play at juvenile level at some stage. Like, we've a couple of women with girls on our team that are from Scotland. We've just, it's amazing, like, to be part of it, you know. And there isn't, nobody cares if you can, like, where I'm 9 years at it and I still struggle to count 4 steps, but you know, you're going solo. Oh yeah, in the middle of a game I forget to solo, but you know, nobody cares. You just take part, you do your best, and as long as you're happy, and when somebody does come on board as well, and I know what you're saying from a role model point of view, that's fantastic, but you know, be your own role model. Like, if you come in and are going, I'm going to give this a go, give it a couple of sessions. Don't come in and go, oh gee, and get overwhelmed by it all, because we're a good while up and running. We're not, well, we are fantastic, but you know, you know, but give it a go, stick with it. Say to yourself, right, say to your kids, I'm going to try this 5 times. After that 5 times, make up your mind. You will be addicted, and at the end of it, you know, there's no going back. It's like Hotel California. Once you get in, you can never leave.
and I think that's really important, because even from, I think, last year's survey that was done with SportsDirect, it was close on 50% that actually had never played before, which, even being honest, was quite shocking for ourselves, because you'd nearly expect there's so many. And I've seen people who've never played, and in fairness to some county players who are in the ethos, really good, where they don't want to go off the field. So as you say, once they're in the ethos, is really important. And Anthony, I know you definitely have been around some of the pitches with them. You're bound to have come across some characters in Gaelic4Mothers. Is there any little nuggets of stories maybe you have that can share with some of the other clubs of some of the characters? Because we definitely meet plenty of them in Gaelic4Mothers.
Well, I suppose every team has their own characters, and certainly my team's the same. We have, we'll call one, say for instance, Deirdre. She came along, I think we were about 3 years in, came about 2013, 2014, and she'd never played before, but she's the best at crack. And she was, you know what I mean? She keeps everybody going. Like, she was a breath of fresh air, if you know what I mean. And it's good that every season you get 1 or 2 new people coming in. Yeah, except the other one would probably be our Melda. Melda played football way back in at county level, way back. I think it was in their early years, must have been the early 80s or something like that. And she's still playing, and we have an agreement: when she goes, I go. So she was 61 there last November. And believe it or not, she would be still going strong. And she bought herself a new pair of white boots, of all things, white football boots. So she intends doing another year at least. And she's the best at crack. And
A new pair
and
of boots is at least 5 years, Anthony, with a new pair of boots.
well, I don't know. They could be sabotaged. You never know. No, but yeah, like you do, and it's the thing. It's not. It's the friendship, the camaraderie within the group. It's a big thing. We don't have you know what I mean. They all support each other, and whether it's outside on the pitch or outside off the pitch, they're a really good bunch of women, and I can't speak highly of them. And certainly, when we travel mainly throughout Ulster, like, and we would have friends in Glenelly, friends in Drumrah, that would maybe do like an annual game. We'll go there, and it's again, it's meeting old friends to a certain extent. And then, of course, the big one is the meet up in Dublin. And we used to stay over in the Grand Central in Malahide. And those were nights were some crack. So, but again, I think the last one we just went up and down, but we stopped off in Dundalk on the way back. And I think that was the first time as a group that we had been together socially before the pandemic years 2021. But it's those nights that they look forward to, and they can express themselves, and there's no one looking down at anybody. They're all equals, you know, and it's good, and everybody's opinions taken on board. And that's the same with coaching. The coaching has to be fun as well. And just as the players, I would get maybe a different player to say, what do you want to do? What sort of drill do you want to do this week? It could be something like over the river or something like that, or, you know, they all have a chance to do what they want to do within reason, obviously. So, so it is good. And again, like that Celine and Rosalind, I can't speak highly of the initiative. When we started, there was only 2 other clubs in Down. Now we have something like 35 clubs in Down, and some of them maybe were not ladies football involved, but they had camogie, and there was no ladies football. And some of the clubs that have started Gaelic4Moms, they're now starting at under 12 football. So it just shows you it's good in that way. It gets a woman recognized within the club, and as the woman said early on, they all bring different skills to the club. Like we have I think we've actually 3 accountants, with nurses, with office workers from all aspects of life, and they maybe not so much on the executive committee, but certainly on the subcommittees like fundraising and things like that.
Very good. And I know it's hard to believe we have over 400 clubs across the country now at the minute, where it's come to, as you say, Anthony, from then. And I'm going to get the 3 of you in a few minutes to share some tips from your journey to help the clubs that's listening. And for anyone who is listening, if you have any questions, feel free to fire them in the Q&A or the chat, and I'll come to them in a second. But Anthony, you mentioned the pandemic, and Rosie, the National Blitz Day, like I seen during the pandemic when bit by bit things were opening, and first of all it was county football, and next was club football, and like we were inundated with Gaelic4Mothers going, when is it our turn? When is it our turn to be reopened? And the National Blitz Day, although it was absolutely bucketing rain, and none of us can describe the rain we had that day, there was just a real sense of relief of people getting back together again. That was your first experience, I think, at the Blitz Day, and rain or not, you silent discoed in the rain. What was your feelings? What was the experience of the Blitz Day?
Like, I've never left a place like feeling so empowered, like it was unbelievable. We had done the Munster Blitz in Mallow, so we kind of knew a little. That day we were like this is mental. It was such crack. But then the National Blitz, like we arrived at the bus and like our mouths were just open. It was just all the women. Like it was lashing. We did not care. Like all the young ones were in electric picnic. We were just like, we realized there was a silent disco, and I've never experienced silent disco. And like the crack, it was just unbelievable. we didn't realize one of our matches had started too early. We were still dancing and the other team were waiting for us. And sure, we just started laughing. We ran on afterwards, but it was just amazing. It was like from the warm up, like just hundreds and hundreds of women, not with a care in the world, like Zumba dancing, like who needed that of college. Do you know what I mean? It was just everyone didn't care. Everyone was up to the crack. Like the video footage, I still look back at it and just can't stop laughing. Like we were dancing to Maniac 2000, like stopping rain in jerseys, like dancing. It was just unbelievable. And like, but I love like even along the journey, like meeting up with the teams. Like there's a team, Carricktool Cougars. We seem to meet them at all the different blitzes that we've played them. They're from Cork as well. And like everyone knows, we all know each other now nearly, you know, the different teams.
Yeah.
Like we met teams from Douglas, but meeting all the new teams we were playing. But everyone has the same feeling. Everyone just has, it's like you have having to care in the world, like when you're doing it, and you just don't care what people think. You just like, but it's no one judges you. I think you might have said that at some stage. Like no one judges you.
Nobody
like
cares.
You know, no one cares. And like we have a lovely lady that started, she started playing football at 50. She stood beside like all her life watching her kids playing, and she was so involved in our club and Min, and she laughed and she started playing and she can't get enough of it, like, and it's just electric. Yeah, we'd love a national blitz every month, actually.
No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure at all.
I actually think I was looking back on that day, and I don't think there was as much madness at Electric Picnic. So I don't think anyone looked into that whole on the music and dancing that was happening. You were nodding your head away there. How important are experiences like that for a group of women to have together?
Absolutely priceless. They really are. Like, I mean, any bonding sessions that we can have for no matter what, even if we're out, you know, on a little mini night out. I was saying earlier on, we've just our team, we were in Belfast for the weekend, and from the time we jumped on that bus, the laughter started. Well, and the Prosecco, but the laughter definitely. And we, like, I come home and you're on a high, like, you know, because it's just proper laughter. The discussions you have are hilarious. The conversations from a lot of different conversations. I'll leave it at that. I'll what goes on for, I won't say any more. But like, so the social nights are one side. The blitz, any of the blitz games we've gone to, any of the games, like we have a couple of local teams near us, and again, as you said, Rosaleen, you get to know them, you get to know the characters. You're having a bit of crack. I mean, you'd be running up a pitch and someone's jumping on your back in some cases, having the laugh or holding you back by the jersey, and just pure fun and laughter. And they're just, and then the high you have, the natural high when you come away from any gathering with the Gaelic4Mothers&Others is just like I was saying earlier on, when you go out for training, you know, you could have a crazy day at work. Everyone's, you know, one of those bad days. You're leaving the house, and no matter what, I'll never miss my training. Like, it has to be something detrimental for me to miss that. And you know, going out, you go, oh Jesus, just sometimes you're like, I don't want to speak, just leave me for a little bit. You get up to that pitch and you come home completely like a different person, and it's natural and it's fresh air, and they're experiences that you can't really put a price on. They're just amazing, you know, really, really are. And I'm absolutely blessed because the majority of the women that are on our team, a huge amount of them are there from the beginning. So that's testament to how fantastic this initiative is. But also at the same time, you can have in certain groups and different things, you get that kind of click kind of feeling where people feel, oh God, they're already established. I don't want to go in there added years. Not at all. Like, since Christmas, I think we've had 3 or 4 new members come up. You know, one of the initiatives that we've set up ourselves, and it's stemmed from a Gaelic4Mother&Others, one of our Gaelic4Mothers&Others, Liz Raymond, and she set this initiative up a couple of just before COVID, and it's called Get Rush Fit. So it ran really successfully before COVID, and then it was knocked on the head. So it's up and running at the minute. And where we live is Rush, and the initiative is we involved, you know, gyms, we involved the yoga, people involved with yoga, people involved with all different kind of fit and healthy stuff, walking groups, running groups, male leaders, female leaders, the whole lot. And I think we have about 80 to 90 people involved in this initiative for 4 weeks, just to get moving, just to get out, just to meet new groups of friends, just to, just for everyone just to start the new year on a positive light. And again, that's something that's stemmed from the Gaelic4Mothers&Others and our amazing Liz,
And
so,
it's those things that are brought to the community on so many things.
Huge.
And I'm conscious, I know just from some of the questions that are coming in, it's obvious we have some clubs who are going around a while and some who are new, but just, Anthony, I'm going to fire a question at you. We'll go back to our discussion in a minute, but there's one question that came in here. After many seasons of talking about it, this Angela Antrim, they're finally having their first taster session for Gaelic4Mothers&Others next week. Have you any advice for the first few sessions to keep everyone engaged and interested? So I'm going to put a bit of pressure on you there from your coaching experience, Anthony, to keep people engaged and interested.
Oh, just make it fun. That's the main. It has to be fun. There's no point in telling them to run around the field 5 or 6 times. Forget about that. Because first of all, they wouldn't do it. No, it has to be fun, and even stupid wee children's games. We did that. It was inside the hall. We do the tag thing. We have one player. She has to tag that, and once she's tagged someone, we join hands and keep joining hands to everybody's caught, if you know what I mean. And that's a good one. And at the same time, they're actually moving and doing their exercise, and the crack is mighty. Even we simple thing like that. And
you define sometimes. I know from quite a few of the groups, they feel nearly sometimes go back to some of your PE games and stuff. That playfulness back. People to get going again is really important. To bring that back in. And I know for those clubs setting up as well, we were talking briefly beforehand, and one of the questions was how often did the clubs train? I know for the majority of clubs it's once a week, but you were actually saying you've had a little idea because a particular night might not suit everyone.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, I suppose at the beginning, and in fairness to our coach who's been with us, Donald, we'd be lost without him. He's been with us since the beginning, and he brings, like what Anthony is saying, he's there, he's so fair, he's just all about the fun, but again, he has commitments himself. So rather than just have the one training session a week, because with work commitments from some of the ladies on the team, we were trying to kind of try get in a weekend session, and we may not always get the same slot at the weekend, which is fine. We do have the midweek slot the same, but we try get an hour, and we're starting to get some of the Gaelic4Mothers doing the actual training and the coaching. Some of them are already involved in juvenile teams, so they have an idea of drills, and if it's good enough for a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, it's good enough for us. We're very happy to follow those instructions. Now, I have seen on our coach, now Anthony, I don't know whether you've come across this, but I think we've broken our coach maybe 2 or 3 times, where he literally had to say, forget about that drill, because he would try to do a drill and he'd say, Jesus, I've done this with 6 or 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. And in the end, he's like, forget about it. So we have broken him quite a few occasions. I don't know whether you've had that experience, and this guy has the patience of a saint, but
we try it, and if it works, we'll try it again. If it doesn't, we don't forget about it.
He has.
I think that theme's coming very strong across the night as well, about the importance of selecting the right coach for any clubs who are bringing it in. For a coach who's joining Gaelic4Mothers thinking they're going to win the All-Ireland, you're in the wrong place. Forget about it. This is very much getting the right coach. And I know from some of the clubs maybe where Gaelic4Mothers didn't work, it was a lot of the times down to, not that the coach was a bad person in any way, it just didn't suit that group. Another group they would have been perfect for. So it is very much, as Anthony said, being able to keep that fun piece. Before I come to kind of wrapping it up shortly, but as I said, send in any other question you have, but I'm going to ask you all for a few tips to share with the other clubs in a second. But Rosie, I have to ask you about, you mentioned your experience getting to Croke Park, and I think nearly all the clubs that's involved have got to Croke Park at some stage. But your campaign with the Míle Mús, we've seen every celebrity in Ireland campaigning for the Míle Mús, including your little cow that appeared everywhere nearly became famous too. How did that start? And it must have generated some crack.
Oh my God, what a laugh. Basically, our coach Dwayne, it was amazing. His wife Diane came up with the name at the very start when we were trying to get the banter going before we went on the pitch that week when we went out. And we called ourselves, she picked the name the Mila Moose because we're Keela Mila, and I suppose West Cork, a lot of cows, etc., etc. So I just started off on a night out in Clarny after a match against Ballyboardie with 2 cows called Marty and Mary. And the joke kind of started from there. We were protecting the cows all night, you know, the same crack now. And then one of the girls was at a ball and she met Marty Morrissey. Now, he was wondering why she had the 2 cows in her bag. We obviously had preempted. We knew he was going to be there. We knew he was going to MC. So she grabbed him and Donegal O'Callaghan, and it kind of just stemmed from there. Then we put the whole campaign around these 2 cows that were going around the country trying to get the Mila Moose to Croker. And like Ty Fleming and loads of Cork players and ladies football players. And it was just such a laugh. So no one was allowed to go anywhere. So I'm married to a farmer and my kids are obsessed. So we have loads of cows here. My son was traumatized. They kept robbing all the cows. And every girl had to, like every player had to go off with a cow and make sure if they went anywhere, they had to have it in their handbag at all times. But it was just
I think
even
we need
like
to stress here, Roisin, that there were toy cows in case we have animal rights coming up.
Toy cows.
The field.
Definitely, we're like toy cows. But it was the crack to get there. It was just unbelievable. I actually found out when I was over on an island off West Cork, and like I started screaming, like just the excitement. I had to leave a voice of the girls on our WhatsApp and just the excitement. And we got on the news. Pascal Sheehy came to our club and recorded. Like Pascal Sheehy told me at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning that I had to have like a team there by 7 o'clock, and like 30 women arrived, like decked out, and like it's just the whole excitement. But the whole area got involved. It involved the whole community. Do you know what I mean? And like, even coming back from Crow Park afterwards, there was a parade through the village. Like, you know, like it was just, we'll never have an All Ireland win. Like, it was so important to us. Brilliant. It was amazing.
And I think, I suppose, just to sum it up, what we hope from tonight is that people can see, number one, everyone has a different journey. And no matter who's involved in it, your journey is going to be different. And that is what is the bread and butter of it. But there is so many stories out there of, as I said, positive things, and everyone, I suppose, getting involved for their own reasons. And that's the most important thing. Have your reason, get involved, whether it's a breakaway, whether it is to get fit, whether it's meet new people, have your own reason from it. And on the screen tonight, I was delighted to be joined by many prize winners, community leaders, and much more in relation to the clubs that's involved. But one by one, I'm going to ask you maybe if you could sum up your journey to date with Gaelic4Mothers just in a few lines. What would it be? And secondly, what's your ambition for it? Again, just in a few lines. So, Anthony, I'll put you on the spot first.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been some journey. Lots and lots of brilliant memories. We got to Croke Park in 2010, and it was semi-final of the men's game. I think it was Dublin and Cork. So you can imagine the woman marching behind the RTN band and all. That was a highlight, and of course all the functions that we've done. You know, we had a NABA night, and we had our morn hikes and things like that. Things that everybody will remember. And of course, the social nights out as well. And certainly the last blitz, as I say, the rain didn't matter. And obviously on the bus on the way home, it was once the Pasaka kicked in, you know, they were singing. I don't think they ever finished a song. There was about 30 songs, I think, but they never finished them. So you have brilliant memories, all good memories. And as I say, laughter's good for the heart and good for the soul. So yeah, brilliant initiative. And it's, as I say, every club should have a Gaelic4Moms team. No excuses.
And I'm going to say all the Prosecco stories are non-alcoholic Prosecco, fitness regimes and everything else that's in it. Rosie, go to you maybe next. So Selena, I mean, that means the thinking time's going there. So Rosie, you want to hear yourself? Summing it up and your ambitions.
Yeah, oh look, it's the only way you can sum it up is just purely fantastic. I mean, when we're at it 9 years and the majority of us, 90% of us that started is still there, we're doing something right. You know, through the good times, the bad times, the supportive times, it's just amazing. And I cannot stress how, if anyone is looking at becoming involved, start it, give it a go, give it a lash, and just, you'll never regret it. Ambition is really, keep her lit, keep it going, and that we're still, as I said, bit by bit, like, I mean, we're slowly falling apart, and I'm like, I don't care, I am not getting, I'm on a Zimmer frame, I'm up that bloody Gaelic4Mothers, I'm not packing it in. So ambition is to stick with it, and obviously, from an advice perspective to if anyone's listening and thinking about it, like, keep your ethos. Look at what the ethos is about. That is the most important thing. New players, open your arms, embrace them, welcome them in, let them enjoy and be part of the experience, and also communication. We're very lucky because we have two amazing girls, Aisling and Vicky, who are fantastic at kind of organising us and telling us where we're going, and organising blitzes and organising training, because it's Vicky's husband that is the trainer, so just communicate. We've our AGM tomorrow night, and we have that before training, and all that is to just reinstill what the ethos of who we are, what we're about, and again, keep going and keep running.
Brilliant. And last but certainly not least, Rosie, on your own perspective.
Yeah, so we've had a bit of a whirlwind, I suppose, over the last year. Everything has been just so positive, I suppose. The campaign to Co-Park, we won the Cork Active Awards. If you wanted to go through Cork Sports Partnership, that was fierce exciting as well, because they came down and did a video, recorded us, and we got to go up and get the awards. It was brilliant. We've played so many fantastic teams, meeting new people, friendships. A bit of advice, I suppose, would be definitely pick a fun coach. I just think it's the most important thing, because it brings the laughter and the crack, and that's what kind of makes the jealousy as a team. Then, do you know what I mean? Be inclusive, allow everyone to come along, like from anyone over 25 up to whatever age, and just make it about the crack. It just really, really means. Ambitions, so we have fierce ambitions. We want to go to New York. We're checking flights for New York, hopefully for October. Parky Queeve are allergic to me, but anyway, we're still trying. We'd love to play in Parky Queeve Stadium. We'd love to have a county blitz there. Let's hope that they'll be listening. But I think we just seem to, I think it's, we just have so much ambition, because we kind of have the feeling that we can do anything, because everyone kind of just supports each other. I've never, being part of a team is just so important for just the support network. Me personally come up with a lot of mad ideas, and everyone's just like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, this is really cool. Everyone's just agreeing with me. But definitely, yeah, I was at a party over the weekend with friends of mine who never liked sport in school, and I was so thrilled. 4 of them are joining 2 different clubs. One is starting up new in hopefully in Middleton, and I came home from a buzzing. I was just so delighted. It just seems to be taking off, and I hope it continues. And it would be unbelievable for every club in Ireland to have one. It would be fantastic.
Vinny might be sweating with that last statement of one of every club in Ireland, but we'll leave it at that. We promised everyone we'd be wrapped up for Love Island. I think we said we'll be wrapped up. But just a massive thank you. I know people are commenting there. Thanks a million to yourselves for being so open with your stories. And I think as much as you can put on slides and everything else, you can't beat the human story of what actually is happening. So we really appreciate Rosie and Selena and Anthony for sharing your stories tonight. We hope that everyone who has listened in has got plenty from it, and advise anyone else that is more than welcome to listen back. But we have no doubt we will meet you on the pitches over the coming months of the year, and we're looking forward to all the events that's coming up. More webinars. There's one a month from now till, or one every second month from now till the end of December. So for anyone who wants to tune into some of those topics, you'll see them on our website. And any further information you want on Gaelic4Mothers and Others in general is on our website also. So feel free to pose any questions you have there and come back to us. And a huge thank to SportsDirect again for supporting this. And I'll finish off as I started. As I said, thanks to yourselves, and just we are wishing Vinny well at this time, and we'll have Vinny welcome back in the next time. So thanks everyone, and good night.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.